Welcome back to my channel, guys, and today I want to talk about 7 signs that she is a low value woman and you need to run. Number 1, she is a heavy drinker or drug user. Now you may be thinking, Juliet, of course, like I know this. No, I'm talking about maybe this is a girl that you met at a club, or she gets drunk with her friends, or she dabbles in, all different types of drugs, but you have a connection with her, right? And you just think to yourself, if I get her to change, it'll be great. Unfortunately, girls don't really change. If this is her behavior and this is how you met her, either she's gonna change maybe for the 3 to 4 months just to kind of win you over, but then she's gonna slowly go back into her old ways, or she's gonna end up resenting you because she's gonna be like, you knew who I was before we met, like this is who I want to be, and that's never a good look either. And I think the problem is a lot of times guys think, well, she's not like blackout, but she does get drunk easily. Well, that's still a sign of somebody that's low value. Like, just because she goes out and gets drunk a lot, it's not like she's getting to that next level of blackout every time, but she is a girl that gets drunk a lot. I have these friends that I know, and this guy started dating this girl, and they met actually at a bar, and she's fine when she's sober, but when we go out, we all know that this girl is going to be crazy and drunk all the time, and the boyfriend is constantly, having to drive her home or being like, we need to leave because she's embarrassing him, and it's the same cycle over and over again. And he's like, yeah, but she's great when she's sober. Yeah, but she's still a low value girl. Like, no girl should be getting sloppy like that. And then it also can lead to infidelity. It can lead to, just really abusive, bad relationships whenever there's substance involved. So if there's a part of you that is a concern at the beginning, that is a red flag. Do not avoid it. Really consider your options. If this doesn't change, is this somebody that you want to spend your life with? Number 2, smoking cigarettes. And I don't know why, but I lived in Europe, so I understand that smoking cigarettes is different in Europe than it is in the United States. In the United States, it's more low value, versus in Europe, it is more appropriate. Everyone does it. It's part of their culture. But that being said, I still think the underlying part of smoking cigarettes is low value. You know that it can kill you. You know it can give you cancer. It makes you smell. It makes your teeth all gross. It's just a low value act, something that you're addicted to, that you're doing, even though you know that it can hurt you long term. And it also can hurt the people you're around. So if you're smoking in your house or you're smoking in your car, secondhand smoke is a real thing, especially with kids with developing lungs. So all that being said, like, there is a type of behavior that a girl is doing that smokes. And to me, that just is low value. Now, that doesn't mean she can't quit, but it just already says what kind of person she is if she is smoking, or maybe she's been grown up with people smoking, so she just kind of continued it. It's just a red flag. Again, it doesn't mean, you have to dump somebody because they smoke cigarettes, but it's something to keep in mind when thinking about long term. Number 3, she dresses like a hoe. If you are seeing a girl and she is going out in these mini skirts or these really low cut shirts or these really tight see-through whatever, and you're just like borderline not appropriate, but she's going out and she's dating you, but she's going out wearing something like that, to me, that's a blatant disrespect to you. Because why is a girl dressing up like that? Now, it's different if she's going out wearing that stuff with you and you're okay with it and you think she looks attractive, like, well, she's with you, so it doesn't matter. But if she's doing that and you're not out with her, it's clearly a cry for attention and attention from guys, and she's gonna get it. But that's not a good thing if she's in a relationship. Now, I'm not saying every girl needs to dress extremely modest, but it's something to keep in mind, like how she dresses on the weekends when you're not there. Now, I'm not saying you have to control all her outfits, because that can come off as extremely controlling, and you can't just be like, you can't leave the house like that. But I think that's a conversation you need to have in a calm manner, and being like, hey, like, why are you wearing this out when I'm not with you? I'm just curious, like, what's the reasoning behind this? And then hopefully you guys can get to a place where she's like, oh, I don't know, this is always what I've worn. And then you could be like, okay, can we, maybe work on changing your style together? And if a girl's not really open to having that conversation, again, that's a huge red flag. She'd rather go out looking like a hoe and attracting the attention from guys, even if she's not doing anything, than versus like having a healthy relationship with you. Number 4, a girl that slept around. And I'm not talking about a girl that has a little bit higher body count than the average. I think the average is like 3 to 4 for women. I'm talking about girls that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and plus. And we all know those types of girls. All the guys know that, oh, that, Sarah girl slept with the whole soccer team or whatever. But you don't want to be the guy that she settles down with. And they have a ton of research shown on this, and again, this is just one factor, and it doesn't mean there's not outliers. It doesn't mean that some girls are different. However, the majority of girls that have this mentality to sleep with a high number of guys are never going to fully be satisfied. So if they are in a relationship with you, they're more likely to cheat. They're more likely to have already compared so many guys. Like, well, I slept with John and he did this really cool thing in bed, but Sam had a really nice, but then Aaron was so muscular. Like, they're trying to look for this perfect guy that doesn't exist because they've had so many sexual partners. And I think it can only, really hurt your self-esteem if she starts saying things or if she does cheat, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Again, I don't know if all these things on their own are a reason to leave, but they're red flags, and red flags are usually a really bad sign. So it's something to keep in mind when you're talking to a girl. And again, it's not something you can flat out be like, okay, I need you to tell me your body count, but you can get an idea. If she's introducing you and like, oh yeah, I have this ex, or I saw this guy, like, you get an idea. And also people talk. So if you're in a small town, you're going to find out pretty quickly, how many people has been with Sarah. Number 5, she talks shit about everybody. We all know those girls that just every time you're with somebody and then as soon as you leave, she's just going off about Susie was this, or Brad was so awful, or blah, blah, blah. There's not ever really anything nice coming out of that girl's mouth. Or maybe she's even bashing your family, your friends. And that to me is just a no-no, because you obviously have good friends, you obviously have good family. Now, obviously, if you don't, that's a side note, but let's just say you do. This girl is doing something like putting a wedge between you, trying to pull you guys apart, telling you this story, why your friends and family isn't good and why she's better. And that's a slow manipulation to isolation. And I've seen this happen so many times with good guys that like a girl, and the girl slowly pulls them away from their support system. And this obviously can happen with roles reversed, but it's important to realize, like, if you're dating a girl and she's talking shit about everybody, what do you think she's saying behind your back? That's just not a girl. That's not a high value girl. That's not a girl you want to bring home to mom and dad. So look out for these things. Look out for how she responds. Does she seem really fake when she's with people? And then as soon as she's not with them, turn around and talk shit. Another key one to look for, this isn't on there, but something else, just a little side note, is look at her friends. Does she have long-term friends? Or does it seem like every 2 to 3 months she has new friends? That's also a huge concern. Number 6, I guess it does kind of go into it. Does she have healthy relationships with her friends, family, etc.? Does she come from a broken family? Now, again, that is not necessarily her fault and not something that she should be blamed for, but it's something to just keep in mind. Now, if she does seem like she has good parents, but she's the one that has put a rift in between their relationship, well, then that is her fault, right? So there's things to watch out for. Or even friends, like I said in the prior thing. Does she have good friends? Does she have like solid, good people in her corner? Or do they seem like not great friends, or people she's just met recently and she seems like she is cycling through friends constantly? Another thing part of this is boyfriends. Do you find out that she's cycled through boyfriends often? Has she been in a relationship every year, or every time that she breaks up with a guy, she's in a new relationship? Well, these are all bad patterns, and bad behaviors where she doesn't want to be alone, and that she's just jumping through relationship because she's scared of being alone. And also, like, the friendship is like, is she not picking good friends, or is she, doing something where she's losing these friends? Like, these are all behaviors you need to look out for. Even when she seems great and you guys have that connection, like, you have to look outside that. And number 7, is she really closed-minded? I remember when I first met my husband, David, I grew up in a really small town. I was very closed-minded. And then I met him and we traveled, and I started being like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to the world than this small town I grew up in. But I became open-minded and learning different things. But there's some people that just choose not to. There's people that, you know, maybe grew up in small towns and they want to stay there and they're comfortable in their comfort zone, and anything outside of that just seems terrible. And even if you want to travel with her, or if you even want her to see a different political view or whatever it may be, but she can't because she's so close-minded. And I think that can really hurt relationships. I think it's a low value trait. I think everyone should be open-minded, but if there's something about her that she just is not willing, that's an issue. And I get it, people have experiences that shape their thoughts, like family, friends, things like that, but there should still be an open communication, or being able to show her a different, you know, life, and she needs to be open to hearing that. And if not, you're just going to end up in a really unhealthy relationship. So if girls have any of these 7 things, you need to really think like, okay, is this really a healthy relationship? Do I really want to be in a relationship with a low value girl? Because any of these are pretty low value qualities. Now, again, it doesn't mean that it's a reason to break up with them, but if they have more than 2 of these, yeah, that's a huge problem, and probably I would just leave. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will talk to you in the next video.